controversial question, but I'd like to know if you think the standard of education in Australia is improving or declining.
I think the answer, if you look at the global comparisons, is that we are declining. We are losing our place in the top 10 as such, or high up in that space. So I think essentially, if you look at the way in which we educate our school kids, the model hasn't changed in decades. Absolutely, and the generations are changing, yet our model doesn't change. Yes, the content's becoming more appropriate, more relevant. Sometimes they're looking at, there was a move away from some of the more traditional literature, for example, and now they're coming back to it. So there's a bit of an oscillation and a cyclical process here where we're leaving and departing from one model and returning back there in a way to try and improve what we're doing. But fundamentally, if you look at how our kids are performing and the level of literacy and numeracy issues, we certainly aren't moving ahead in leaps and bounds. Okay. And until such time as we actually acknowledge that there are other models out there, and instead of trying to deal with the behavioural issues, understand that our model is actually the problem, not the behavioural issues of the student, we will never get away from this problem about some kids not liking learning because of their early experiences and always being disengaged and less likely to acquire the knowledge to make them prosper in life.
Yeah. There's some really good models like in countries like Denmark where they have a really, really high standard of education. I think education is free for everybody and like all types of education, and it's got a really high standard and teachers and educators are really highly regarded and respected, and they have like a very different model as well. But I think we should be looking possibly at some of those types of models that are really working well and possibly see how we can use that here.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there's some really good models. The teacher is critical, whether you pay them more or less, or it's all about the training, and it's less about necessarily being an honest student, and more about being able to know how to treat the learner.
Yeah.
And so unfortunately a lot of our university programs are very much focused on the theoretical and the research, not enough focus on the practical and the applied understanding of that. So I'd love to see us recognise our teachers for the value they actually provide, and I think in TAFE we pay our teachers quite well, and they get very good conditions. So if you put the two together, our teachers are quite well paid. I don't think there is in our society there is enough respect for teachers, for the profession. But what it does is profound for our society, and it's just rhetoric really most of the time when you hear people talk about it, and not really followed through with a meaningful demonstration of the value that we have for our teachers.
Yeah, absolutely.